I started making films, I've told this story a bunch, because I wanted to see paintings move. The more you suffer, the less you want to create. Van Gogh did suffer, but I think he didn't suffer while he was painting. He went out to paint because he loved to paint. Find your own voice, stay true to the voice and true to the ideas.
I like habitual behavior because it's a known factor, and then your mind is free to think about other things.
Insist upon final cut.
And it's sort of it's an honest film, but it's very abstract. So it's not fair for me to say that it's a definite, way that has to be interpreted.
No idea, no idea. And then, boom, you see it, you hear it, you feel it, you know it, all at once.
Film is such a beautiful language. It can do abstractions. The most important thing is what you fall in love with. And the reason you fall in love is an abstraction. Nobody knows why they fall in love with this woman and not this one.
This is not like anything you've ever done before.
Right. It was curious. I'm reading the script and I'm feeling things. And I've always said that film is such a beautiful language. It can do abstractions. It can do abstractions. And abstractions are the combination of all these different elements that you have in a film. It can do an abstraction of emotion. And I felt this emotion coming from the script. And that's what that's what lit my fire. The
emotion of what?
The emotion coming from a scene, from a word, from a look. When you read something, we all have the experience, we picture it in our minds. And those pictures, those initial things are what guide us from then on. And so as this thing, I was picturing it, at the same time I'm feeling things, and I'm thinking, film can do this, and it could be beautiful.
This is a very beautiful, important question. And this is part of the myth, I think. Van Gogh did suffer. He suffered a lot. But I think he didn't suffer while he was painting. He went out to paint because he loved to paint. And it might have been one of the only happy times in his life when he was painting. It was so thrilling for him to be painting. But he didn't need to be suffering to do those great paintings. And I know Van Gogh would have been happier if he'd been able to transcend, dive within. And I know his work would have been as good, better, or even better than good. It stands to reason. The more you suffer, the less you want to create. If you're truly depressed, they say you can't even get out of bed, let alone create. If you're truly angry, occupies the whole brain, poisons the artist, poisons the environment, little room for creativity. And I use this example. If you have a splitting headache, and you have nausea, you're vomiting, and you have diarrhea on top of that, how much work are you going to be doing, and how much are you going to enjoy it? Give the person a technique to lift that sickness, lift that negativity, and enjoy life.
But I guarantee you, if you have enough stress, you won't be able to create. And if you have enough conflict, it will just get in the way of your creativity. You can understand conflict, but you don't have to suffer in it. And you can get ideas from it. The whole world, most things just reflect the world. They just reflect the world. But I say, if you're really and truly depressed, you can't even get out of bed. You can't create. But if you've got a notion of, because you want to live the art life, and you've got this melancholy, thing, and the chicks really dig this, then you'll just keep playing that role. But you're not really suffering.
Some people have heard the story that I went to Bob's Big Boy for 7 years, every day at 2:30, and had the same thing. That was my longest habit pattern, I think. But I like habitual behavior because it's a known factor, and then your mind is free to think about other things.
Good morning. Good morning. It's September 16, November 12, 2020, and it's a Monday, and it's a Wednesday, Thursday. Here in LA, a clear morning, about 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Here we go for today's number. It's September 30, November 2. 10 balls, numbers 1 through 10. Swirl the numbers, swirl the numbers. Pick a number. Today's number is 9. 4, 9. Today's number, Wes, is 7.
So what are you eating at first? Tell me what you're eating.
I'm eating for lunch tomatoes, tuna fish, feta cheese, and olive oil.
You know, here's what's interesting about you. You eat that every day.
Every day.
Every day. Mm-hmm. You eat the same thing.
Yeah, it's very good. You know,
well, I'm sure it is. Otherwise, we wouldn't eat it every day.
Right, right, exactly.
And what do we eat for dinner?
Chicken, little pieces of chicken and broccoli, and a little soy sauce.
Every day.
Yeah, every day, except when I travel. Then I go off that.
Is this? Can we say you're a creature of habit?
Yes, habit in a daily routine.
Yeah.
And then when there's some sort of order there, then you're free to mentally go off any place. You've got a safe sort of foundation and a place to spring off from.
Yeah. And you view that in terms of the creative process as very important.
It's very important for me.
For you?
Yeah.
Right. You don't like a cluttered room when you're thinking.
No. The purer the environment, the more, you know, fantastic the interior world can be, it seems to me.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for maybe younger artists?
Sure.
How to do that?
It's very simple to do that.
And succeed.
Well, now, that's not a guarantee. See, that's the problem. There's a bunch of stuff you could say, but I always say, for anybody, find your own voice. Stay true to the voice and true to the ideas. Never turn down a good idea, but never take a bad idea. Always have final cut. Insist upon final cut. If whoever these people are that are giving you the right to make this or funding it, they have to trust the filmmaker to, you know, make the film the way he or she wants it made. And if you don't have final cut, what you're saying is, this isn't my film. I will never be guaranteed that I can hold my head up high and say this is my work, because somebody's going to come in and fiddle with it. And I always say the painter is painting a picture. People don't come in and say, I don't like that particular blue, change that blue, or I don't like this. The artist would probably leap on the person and beat him, you know, so it's the same way with all the arts. You have to have freedom, and you need support from the people you work with, and you should have fun in the doing. You should go down the road with like a family, working together and enjoying the work. I write them down so I don't commit suicide later, having forgotten the idea.
Yeah.
I've forgotten probably 2 or 3 major ideas, and it may make you sick. It's just horrible. Write the idea down. You say, well, I'll never forget this idea. You can forget.
People do feel this thing in the air, and it might alter our thinking a hair. You don't know what you're going to fall in. The most important thing is what you fall in love with. And the reason you fall in love is an abstraction. Nobody knows why they fall in love with this woman and not this one.
Yeah, or why they fall out of love.
Or why they fall out. Well, they know that a lot of
times. Yes, they do. But so, and you can't figure it out. In other words, you can't sit here and say to me, I can tell you what was in the air. It was this, this, and this.
No, you can't.
It's a
beautiful abstraction.
Beautiful abstraction of some kind of a psychic thing.
I know that there's a thing called writer's block, But just that term, if it becomes kind of a reality, if you believe in that term, you could maybe get writer's block. And fearing it, you would bring it to yourself. Or I don't know if that's true, but all it means is the ideas are not coming. You are out fishing, your hook is in the water, you've got bait on it, but you're not catching anything today. So it just means that you just keep fishing. You have to have patience. I started making films, I've told this story a bunch, because I wanted to see paintings move. What happened to me, though, when I started making films with stop motion, a love for this medium of film started growing, a love for it, and ideas started coming, ideas for cinema. And I always say that every medium that we have available is infinitely deep, and these mediums will talk to us. And once we start getting a dialogue with the mediums, ideas flow for them, and it's magical. You're going along, there's no idea, no idea, and then boom. It's like you could say a big movie screen in your head, in your brain. This idea comes on the screen, and you see it, you hear it, you feel it, you know it, all at once. And then you go and write it down. And you write it down, I say, with words, so that when you read those words again later, that idea will come back in full.
David Lynch has described his film Eraserhead in this manner: a dream of dark and troubling things. And would you like to expound on that a little?
No.
No? What sort of reaction were you thinking of? Do you want people to have? Or do you want anyone?
Well, see, the thing is, like, when we were making the film, we weren't thinking about an audience. I wasn't really thinking about what it would do. We would sometimes fantasize, you know, and think, you know, but we never really thought that we'd even get it distributed, you know. And I remember when Filmix came around, we thought this was it. It's going to be seen one time, and that's going to be it. And so the reaction, Eraserhead is Eraserhead, you know, and it was meant to be just that way. And however people react to it is you know, is fine. And the next film I make, I'd like to think more about an audience and, you know, what they're going to be reacting to and like that. But it wasn't that I just went about it haphazardly. Eraserhead was a real definite, you know, thing in my head, but I didn't think about how people were going to react to it. Anything goes, you know, like if somebody sees it and wants to make a political film out of it, you know, they can do that, you know. It's fine with me, because it's not fair for me to say, oh, you didn't get it, you know, because the film is so abstract. But it's not just like throwing together abstract. It's meant to be abstract. It's meant to be that way abstract, you know. So it has a right kind of feeling to me, and it's an honest film, but it's very abstract. So it's not fair for me to say that it's a definite, you know, way that has to be interpreted.